Hi everyone, and welcome back for another episode in my first person shooter series. In the previous episodes we have set up the gun parent and started creating some guns. We've created the fully automatic and the semi-automatic guns, and we've also done the reloading and the user interface element of our gun. Now moving on, we're going to create a couple more guns, or at least types of guns. The first type of gun we're going to create now is going to be the charged gun. Okay, so this is a gun similar to, say, like a railgun, where you could hold down the trigger, and when you let go you release a charged shot, and that charged shot will be more powerful the longer you hold down that button. Okay, now this gun is a bit more involved than the previous guns. It has a lot more going on because it's not your typical gun. Okay, so there's a lot more different things going on with it. So let's begin. So like we have previously set up with our other guns, all our guns are inherited from the gun parent, so our charged weapon is exactly the same. So right click on gun parent and choose create child blueprint class. In here you want to name it gun underscore charged. Okay, so this can be a charged type gun, and you can open it up. Okay, so we're going to do this in several stages. Okay, so let's start off with the mainly the variables and actually getting the gun to charge up and release a shot. Okay, so really first of all we need to start off with some variables. So the variables we're going to need, we're going to click on the plus icon on the variables on the bottom left here, and the first one we want is charging, and this one will be a boolean, which is a true or false statement, and this will simply just store whether or not the gun is currently charging or not. The next variable we need is going to be called the current charge, and the current charge will be a float, and that float will go between 0 and 1, so 0 no charge, 1 fully charged. And another variable, again a float, this one is going to be called charge time. So this would be storing how long it takes for the gun to reach fully charged status. So for the default value for that, I'm going to hit and enter 3. So it'll take 3 seconds for it to charge up fully. Okay, and you can tweak this however you like, totally up to you. Okay, for now that will do for the variables. The next thing we're going to do is start coding in the firing and non-firing events. So let's type in start shooting, and that event is one we made on our parent, and we need to, like we have done with our semi-automatic and a fully automatic gun, we need to inherit the parent event, and you do that by adding a call to the parent event. So right click on this event and you'll see add call to parent function, choose that, and you want to hook it up. Okay, likewise you want to do one for stop shooting. So exactly the same, right click, choose add call to parent function. This means that when this function is called on this gun, it will first of all call the start shooting code on the parent, which is the gun parent. Okay, and you can always see which parent is what the parent is of the current object by looking at the top right hand corner where it says parent class gun parent. So what we're going to do is we are going to make a little test thing first. Okay, so we're going to check whether or not we can actually start shooting a gun, because what you don't want to happen is if the player is holding down the trigger, you don't want them to be able to start shooting from middle of the way through the charge. Okay, so when they let go of the trigger, you want to punish them for letting go of the trigger and make them wait for the gun to recharge fully. It makes it feel more realistic and more balanced for a gameplay perspective. So to do this, we're going to take in is charging and choose get, and we're going to get the current charge and choose get, and we want to check whether is charging is false. So to do that, we're going to type in a not boolean. So if we are not charging and the current charge is less than or equal to 0. Now I want these to both be true before I declare that this gun is in fact shooting. Okay, so to do that, we're going to go to an AND node, like so, and that will then go into a branch. Okay, so that is going to be checking whether or not we can actually start shooting our gun. Again, we don't want to have the player shoot the gun whenever they want. We have to make sure they've got no charge in the gun before they start shooting or start charging the gun. So to accomplish this next bit, we are going to hook these up, and on the true, use that is charging, set that to true. Now, the start shooting event on the parent, if I want to click on my gun parent up here and click on the little the spanner or wrench, whatever you want to call it, you can see the start shooting event just says it's firing. Okay, so it doesn't actually do anything. That is handled by the fire bullet function. So to determine whether or not we can fire a bullet, we have to check whether or not our charge is full. Okay, but before we can do that, we have to actually make the gun charge. Okay, so to do that, we're going to drag out from set is charging and add a timeline. Now, I've used timelines a lot in the past. If this is the first time coming to one of my videos, a timeline is a very simple way of making a value change over time. So I'm going to call this one charge weapon. Now, this timeline, as I said, will change the value over time. To do that, you double click on it and it will open this up. At the moment it's blank, there's nothing here. We're going to add a float value to it. And you can see at the top here, we've got F for float. Click on that. And you want to name this weapon charge. Okay. Now to add points to this graph, we're going to have to do shift click to add a point. And if you click on a point, you can choose the time and value of that point. So the first point we want is 0 at time and 0 in value. And we're going to shift click again. And this time the time will be 1 and the value will be 1. Now notice it's gone up to here. Okay, meaning that over time, as we go through 1 second in time, the value will change. But notice it carries on. Okay, it carries on. This little grey area carries on. That's because the length of it up here doesn't match. We need to change that length. So click on the length and times that, change that to 1. There you go. That looks a lot better. Click compile and then go back to your event graph. Now you can see weapon charge is an output float on this node. The weapon charge, you want to come out of here and we want to clamp that value between 0 and 1. We don't want this value to change whatsoever below 0 or above 1. So this is a surefire way to make sure that that is the case. After that, we're going to set that to the current charge. So drag current charge out and choose set. Hook that up to return value and that's to the update. So this bit here is changing the charge value of the weapon over time, making sure it doesn't go below 0 or above 1, and then setting it back to the variable. Okay, this is looking good. The next bit we want to do is the stop shooting. Okay, so the stop shooting is going to be doing something a bit in reverse. So rather than charge the gun, it's going to decharge the gun and then fire the bullet if it's a certain length. Okay, so basically I want to copy and paste all of this. Now we're not going to leave it as is, we're going to change it. But what we're going to change is going to be pretty much the opposite. So rather than checking whether or not is charging variable is a not true, we want to check that we are true. We only want to stop shooting the gun if it's currently charging. We also want to make sure that we're stopping the gun when the current charge is above a value. So I'm going to go there and delete that and type in greater than or equals to and hook that up to there. Now, the value that we want to put in these two boxes here is basically the dead space you want between the start of charging a gun and the release of it. So, do you want the player just to tap the gun with one single mouse click to release a bullet or not? If you do, then leave it at 0. But in this case, I don't want that to happen. I don't want the player to get away with just clicking the mouse once and shooting a little bolt out. Instead, I want him to have to charge it a little bit. So here, I'm going to type in value 0.2, meaning that the gun charge has to go at least a fifth of the way before it can release a bullet. So if its charging is true, and the current charge is greater than 0.2, I want to fire bullet. So true will go to fire bullet. Now fire bullet, let's give ourselves a bit more space. Once it's fired the bullet, it will then reverse the timeline. So drag that up to reverse, and that means the charge will now decrease. Okay, so it will go back to 0. Hopefully you're following me so far. With this done, we now need to add the final bits to this. Well, at least for now, the final bits. And that is, how do we actually get to fire the bullet when we release the gun? Well, or when we hit a full charge. Anyway, it will fire when we ever release the mouse, or the trigger rather. But now we want it to fire automatically if we reach full charge. So the current charge after this timeline is being set. We want to check whether or not this is 1 or greater. Okay, so greater than or equal to, and type in 1. Put branch in. And that means if it's true, we want to fire a bullet. But instead of typing in fire bullet, I'm just going to type in stop shooting. So if the charge gets fully charged gun, it will call the stop shooting function and say that and check whether or not we have enough charge, and we are charging, and then fire the bullet out and then reverse the charge of the gun. Now currently the charge will increase and decrease at the same speed. I don't want it to happen. I want it to decharge a lot quicker than is going to be the charging. Pardon me. So the way we handle that is actually with the timeline itself. You can actually alter loads of stuff about the timeline in the blueprint. When I created the timeline, you may not have noticed, but what's actually happened is created a variable called charge weapon, which is this timeline. Okay, charge weapon, charge weapon. If I drag charge weapon out, and then from there type in play rate, I can set the play rate of this timeline. So if I set it to 1, it will go for the normal speed. If I set it to 2, it will go twice as fast. If I set it as 0.5, it will go twice as slow. So what I want this to do is give myself a little bit of space here. And after we set this charging, but before we start the timeline, we're going to set the play rate of the timeline to a value. And likewise, we're going to do exactly the same for after we fire the bullet. So copy that, paste that there, hook that to fire bullet, and hook that to reverse, and the charge weapon node variable will go into the target. Okay, so it should look like this. Now you'll also want to change the stop shooting not to be just true that goes to it. You also want to go to false. Okay, both of them should go to set play rate. Now to actually set the play rate. Now the play rate, we're going to use that charge time variable that we made earlier. Quite simply, what we're going to do is we're going to drag off new rate and do a divide, float by float. And the new rate is going to be 1 divided by the charge time. So this is 3 seconds currently. 1 divided by 3 seconds will make it slower. Whereas the new rate here, I can just type in 1 at the bottom and it'll play like normal speed. So if it's fully charged, it will take 1 second for it to discharge. If it's charging, it will take 3 seconds. A third of a second. 1 divided by 3 is a third. So it'll take 3 seconds. It'll go 3 times as slow. So try and make that sense. Hopefully it makes sense what I'm trying to do there. Okay. Click compile. And let's go into our into our game. So in there, I'm going to go into my first person character blueprint. Click on the gun child actor and choose the gun charged weapon. Click compile and click play. Now if I hold down the mouse and let go, it will shoot a bullet. If I hold down the mouse and don't let go, it should fire the bullet. Okay. Why is that not going? Ah! I forgot one node. I do make mistakes. I didn't set the is charging to be false. So is charging needs to be copied and pasted and hooked up to both the true and false of the gun and make it false. Now if I test it. So I can charge the gun by holding the mouse and letting go and release a bullet. And if I hold down the mouse and don't let go, it should fire the bullet, there you go, at full speed. Okay? At full power, sorry. That's all well and good. However, there are a couple of things with this. We need to make a little bit of user interface, make it clear that we are charging the gun. And then we also need to make it so the bullet changes even with the charged shot. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to do a new variable on our gun parent. So go into your gun parent and we're going to add another variable to our list of variables called bullet speed. And this will be a float. Now if I was to go into the projectile blueprint, let's go into projectile blueprint and click on the projectile component, I can see the initial speed and max speed are 3000. Okay, so that's the normal speed that we see currently. So bullet speed, I want it to be a default value of 3000. Okay. Now for the fire bullet function on this same gun parent, we need to add a little bit of code in here to take note of that bullet speed and affect the projectile with it. So after we spawn the projectile, we want to get the projectile and change the speed it's travelling at. So on the return value, drag it out and type in projectile, and this will allow you to get the projectile component, that thing we just clicked on, and then from there I can access those variables we saw. So I can set the initial speed, and I can also set the max speed. Making sure I hook it all back up. Now the speeds here will be the bullet speed variable. So drag the bullet speed in, choose get, and plug that in like so, and click compile. We're done here, done with the gun parent. Let's go off of here and go back to our charged gun. So the charged gun, we want the bullet speed to be different based on the strength of the current charge. So when we release the bullet, the fire bullet, we want to change the fire bullet function, so we're changing that variable. Okay, sounds very complicated. It really isn't. So if I go in, double click on the fire bullet function, oh not double click, sorry, we need to override fire bullet. No. How do we get it? No, I'm pretty sure that's how you do it. Fire bullets. Oh, comes to a function. Nope. Oh, how do I get it to a function? I've forgotten now. It doesn't matter too much. We can do it all from here. So with the event fire bullet, which you're going to call with this fire bullet. Okay. Pretty sure I can do that. Yeah. I had it as a function before. I don't know why it's not going as a function. Maybe I'll figure it out by the end of this video. So with the fire bullet, we're going to call the parent function, like we have done previously. But where we've done this one straight away, we don't want to do that straight away because we're going to call the fire bullet later after we change the bullet speed. Now the bullet speed was on the gun parent, meaning that I can access it from here and get the bullet speed. I'll set the bullet speed. I'm going to choose set bullet speed. Hook it to there. And the bullet speed I want to be equal to the bullet speed times the current charge. Remember that current charge goes between 0 and 1. So it'll go either full speed or slower speed. So that'll then fire the bullet out. It'll set the bullet speed when we click fire bullet. Actually fire the bullet out at the correct speed based on the parent we just done. And then after that we want to reset the bullet speed back to its default value. Okay, so bullet speed will be back to its default. So set bullet speed like so, and we can just type in 3000 here to get the default speed back. Now let's test this out. So as you can see, I'm releasing the bullet, and if I hold down the mouse for longer, the bullet comes out faster. If I hold it up all the way and just let go of it, you can see the difference in speed. Okay. And that's what we want to achieve. Okay. Last bit for our charged weapon is the bar on the user interface. Okay. Okay, so we need to make a user interface bar. Now I've already made one here. Let's just delete this. And let's make another one from scratch. Okay, so to make the user interface part of this, we're going to go add new user interface widget blueprint, charged bar, and I want to open up the charged bar widget editor. I don't want a canvas panel, I'll get rid of that. Instead I want a size box, like so, and this size box is going to be a certain size we want. So width and height override on the right hand side. Width I'm going to do is 300 and the height as say 50. I'm going to change fill screen to desired to get what the bar will look like. And in there I'm going to have a progress bar inside of it. So I want this progress bar to change based on how charged it actually is. Okay. So first thing is I need to bind the percentage of the bar to the actual value of the charged weapon. So to do that, go into the graph, and on the construct we're going to first of all get the player character and cast that to the character actor, which is the first person character in my case. And the first person character will have a gun attached to it. So let's get the gun child actor and then get the actual actor that component is actually holding. And this thing, well, I want to store as the variable. So click on promote to variable, and this thing will have the name of current gun. Okay, so this could be either a separate thing like it is here, or attached to actually the ammo counter that we already have. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so for this it's going to set to the current gun. Go back to your designer, and if you click on the percent bars bind button, I'll click compile first. Click on the bind button. No, Why is that not working? Maybe I have to cast it first. Yes. Let's cast to charged gun. Like so. Then promote it to verbal. I can delete that one there. Okay. Click compile. Go to designer. Bind. There you go. Gun. And I can now see the variables that I assigned to it. And I want a current charge to affect percent bar. Click compile. And close that. I'm going to go onto the HUD. And add the charge bar to the HUD. So when I click compile, I've got this error. Now to fix that error, you need to go into the charged bar and make sure your gun is public by clicking on a little eyeball. Okay, and that should clear that error. Basically it means it needs permission to access it. Okay, so if I click play now, there's the charge bar. Let go, it fires out. And you can see it go faster when it decreases and slower when it increases. And you can see that when it reaches the end, it discharges. Excellent. And that'll do it for this gun. Okay, so if you have any questions or queries about the gun, or how it works, or you want to add special features to it, just let us know in the comments below. If you like this video and want to see more, please subscribe to the channel and click on the little bell notification. You'll get notifications of when new videos go up. Plus you can subscribe to me on Patreon and you can get videos 2 weeks ahead of time, so you can see the next 2 parts right now over there if you wish to support me and my videos. Other than that, thank you for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Hi everyone, if you do like these videos and you have liked what I've done in the past and want to see what else I can do, all your support is greatly appreciated on YouTube. However, I do have a Patreon set up as well where you can support me even further. Money donated by yourselves will help me make better videos and better content, and more frequently hopefully. Plus it will help me develop my own projects. Currently I'm in a project at the moment and I'll hopefully be able to share that with you soon. If you do just choose to donate and subscribe to us on Patreon, you do get access to videos 2 weeks ahead of time, plus there are many other rewards available to you too. So head on over to www.patreon.com/Ryan Laley, and thank you for all your support, and I'll see you next time. Bye.